are amazing because our passion is limitless and our drive is intense. Therefore, you will not deny your grind. You are now watching the Faith Grind Inspire podcast with your host, Dr. Gina Love.
This is fun. All right. I feel nervous, man.
Why?
Are you nervous?
I don't know.
How many he's done? 27?
Yeah.
I didn't know. 28.
28. And you nervous?
Huh?
Come on, man. This is your thing.
I know. Welcome back to another great episode of Faith Grind Inspire. I am your host, Gina Lurd, and today we have a special guest. I know we have special guests every week, but today is a special guest because this is actually my mentor. He's in the building. He doesn't do any interviews. This guy, when I was 18 years old, gave me an opportunity to get into banking. I was with him for 10 years. He showed me so much about being a man, being a business owner, running a business, managing team, and he just kept giving me opportunity, kept putting more on my plate. And now I feel like I'm the mentor because I got married first and I had the baby first. So now I feel like I could give him some words of encouragement and words of wisdom to help him during this next phase of his life,
Adventure,
right?
absolutely.
This venture, right?
Adventure.
It definitely is an adventure.
It is.
So, Rob Flower, right? So,
me.
Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Of course, man.
You know, for the last, I've been an entrepreneur, 18 years?
Absolutely.
I've been running ACA for 12, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you some funny stuff, some stories. Now that, statute of limitations is over.
Right, you say.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
Okay.
But it's going to be fun. But I've been talking about you in my books, in my speeches for years. So it's finally, it's here where I get to, so people can hear you actually speak and understand your mindset and, what you saw in me, I guess.
Sure.
And what you're doing, how do you keep going? I was just talking about you today, matter of fact. I was at the office and this guy, we were talking and he said to me, we were talking about people who come into the office early, and I said, you know what? Rob's style was so funny because Rob lived in Manhattan and he didn't really discipline you like normal bosses, like you're late. All he would say is, I ran 5 miles today, I live in Manhattan, and I got to Westbury before you guys. Like, does that make sense to you? And and you guys are complaining about not having money? How am I beating you here? Like, and he's like, oh! And I lived in Long Island. Everybody lived in Long Island, and you would still beat us every day. So,
That's
7 o'clock in
man.
the morning, you would be at the office.
That's right.
So, I learned that because now I beat everybody in my office.
That's it.
And, and some people live really close to the office.
Taylor.
That's the secret. The secret was not getting there early. I got there early because I couldn't get anything done when I was there when everyone else was there. So you get there early, you get it done. But yeah, you guys would stroll in there, Oh, and you would try and get in there to beat me a few times.
Yeah.
But
Never worked.
Never worked.
You know what? So, I know you. So the conversation, this is not an interview. It's more of a conversation. So the podcast is more of an entrepreneur mindset. We're going to talk about the mindset, right? So let's start from where you from.
From Westchester, from Yonkers, in Westchester County, New York. And now I live in Manhattan, been here for probably 19 years.
19 years.
19 years
Now,
in the city.
I met you when I was 18. You were 26, 27.
Yeah.
Right? And when I met you, it was like a family-owned bank, right? Your father's in real estate, your mom's everybody's in real estate.
Everybody's in real estate.
It was so cool. I was like, your dad is construction, your mom is appraiser,
yeah.
Your sister's an attorney,
a real estate attorney,
and then your other sister's an appraiser,
yeah.
and you were the banker.
Yeah.
It's so cool, man. Like, let me ask you something. Like, growing up, right? How was like that household? Because now I have kids, and sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, don't steer your kids during a certain thing." Like, how was that conversation? Like, did your father just show it to you, or show it to you guys, or did he say, "Yo, Rob, you can go to school what you want to do, but you're gonna be a banker"?
Man, it was always just very natural. You
Got
know,
it.
we'd go away on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
He'd grab the closest, you know, home listing book, and we'd look through it and go see different places. We'd drive through the neighborhood and, you know, go see houses that were for sale. It was always just part of the day for us. You know, go to the construction site where my grandfather and my dad were. It was, to me, it was normal, man. It was
Got
just,
it.
everything was, you know, real estate and construction and just a daily part of life. It was second nature.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So I didn't know this part. So your grandfather was in real estate too.
So my grandfather, my mother's father,
Okay.
not my father's, my mother's
okay.
father came from Italy. He's a builder.
Got
Him
it.
and his brother. They were builders all over Westchester County, upstate New York. My dad got into construction when he was about, you know, 22 years old, and just knew my grandfather from the business. So it's funny, when he met my mother, they realized that, you know, he had done
really?
some business with my grandfather. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. So it's on both sides of my family, really.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I call legacy play, and I talk about it all the time, people. And this is where I got it from, right? So, because I saw it, you know, I saw it firsthand. They used to have crazy, cool Christmas parties, holiday parties, and you just saw the whole family and everybody. It was just a family, you know. Rob used to rent limos for the team, and we would go out to whatever place the holiday parties were. And it was just this family structure. And I also realized, so Dynamic Mortgage Bankers was the bank that you guys had, right?
Yes.
And it was FHA, conventional, you know. But what college did you go to?
UNC, Charlotte.
Charlotte. So, but you didn't go to school for banking. You went to school for
I
like.
didn't. I went to school for, I was an English and a communications major. Yeah, so totally out of the scope.
So what happened? Like, what made you go instead of going to school for finance?
You know, I just, like I said, it wasn't a career path. It was just part of my life, real estate. So I just thought, you know, I wanted to actually go into radio. I wanted to be a writer.
Got it.
So I said, you know what, English, communication, it was organizational communication. So went to school for that, came out. I started doing some writing and some camera stuff for Fox News. And
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
I knew somebody who just got me a job there. Didn't know anything about anything.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's all about networking.
It's all about networking. So then one day the old man approached me and he's like, you know, I need some help on the bank. You know, some of the partners one of his partners was leaving and he just needed somebody involved. So I went down there and, you know, it was a couple hours there. Then I'd go to, you know, my writing on the weekends, and I would bartend at night, and I'd go to school. So I was all over the place, man. It was just it was a headache, not a career choice at the time. Then just kind of eased into it.
Eased into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. So, okay. So now, where did you learn management style? Because your management style was really like, you see how you're just laid back? You see how he's laid back, guys? This is how he was. Still. Like, you know, and I remember my interview with you. It wasn't even an interview. You literally said to me, and I never forgot it because I always say it, imagine when you leave this office, everyone you see is a $200,000 home, and you get 2% off of that. So I went crazy. So the next day I came into the office, and I said, because I went home, and there was a flyer, somebody, you know, passing out flyers, and there was a flyer. I saw it. This was done. I was like, this was done on Microsoft Word. So I came into the office the next day, and you let me use the computer, and I printed out a ream of like bright orange flyers. And you're like, what you doing with this? Because you knew I didn't know anything. So you were just like, all right, cool, go ahead. I kept saying the wrong things, and you're like, look, you have to know the education part first. But you let me do that first, you know? And it was interesting because years later, I realized that if you told me what to do, I probably wouldn't have done it. So you had to like, I had to sort of fall first.
Sure.
You know?
Absolutely. It's like your kid, you know, you let them walk, you let them learn how to walk, you let them do things, and you just don't let them do something that's going to hurt them. Right? Then you kind of help them back on their feet and get them going. But, you know, I think management style is a direct it's a direct relationship to your personality. You know, you're high energy, you're very friendly, so your management style probably is similar to mine in the sense of you're not telling people what to do. You're showing, you're involved with them. You're speaking with them. You're not telling them.
Exactly.
Which, you know, who wants to be told what to do?
Yeah, no, nobody.
Nobody. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just management style. I think everybody is more productive. Everybody's happier if you're a friend with them. You know, there's times where you have to be a boss, of course, and you have to, you know, people have to take responsibility, and it's uncomfortable at times. But you know, being a friend and a person, I think is just as great a management style as any other.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. Because you definitely. It definitely didn't feel, working at Dynamic for that long, it definitely didn't feel, I remember times where, you know, I would say, Rob, it's not working for me, man, I'm not, and you were like, look, it's you. So you like, you know what?
Wow, it's real motivation.
Yeah,
look, it's your fault. Yeah,
yo, you were like, look, you're not coming in, you're not making the calls, you're not doing this, you weren't hard on me, but you were just telling me the truth.
Yeah.
You were like, all right, you want to make money, but you're not making any calls. You're not going out seeing any realtors, but you're complaining about what? And so you like, you know what? Go get a job. So I was like, all right. So I went to another bank and came back a week later. You're like, I told you. And then I went to Citibank, worked there, met Rob Standfast. He was like, go back and work for Rob. So went back, and then that's when everything, because now I saw how, because I was a kid. So by the time I matured, you know, it was interesting for me because then I really started seeing how other people handle their team. And I said, yo, Rob is actually the man, you know, and it's actually good working at Dynamic. So let me just do what he's doing. And then, so one of the things I did was I shadowed you. And I started helping you and listening to exactly what it is that we need to do to expand the business. I remember another tip that you used to give me, or you used to say, because in mortgages you make a lot of money, right? And there's a potential of doing that. So you used to say, when we had a deal on the table, never spend the money before it actually hits the account.
That's right, man. That's right.
And remember that guy? I won't say his name, but he's doing well now. But he used to always spend the money before he even get to the closing table.
He spent it 2 months ahead of time before he even had it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, like, how did you, like, what was your mindset when you were actually running the business? And because I know it wasn't, as a loan officer it was one thing, as a manager it was one thing, but as the main guy running all these different personalities, like, how did you do it?
That's a good question. Focused on growing the business, being successful, helping my father get the bank back on track. And, you know, the easiest part, the best part was dealing with everybody, was working with everybody, talking. We had good people. I mean, that's the key to anything, is surround yourself with good people. You want everybody to be successful. You want everybody to be happy. We know that's not going to always happen. But you do the best you can. You do the best you can. So the focus was, you know, just pick a goal, get everybody moving towards that goal, make sure everybody has a goal that they want. And people's goals are pretty similar in certain ways. Everybody wants to be successful, right? Everybody wants to be successful and be the best they can be, hopefully. And if they don't, you know, maybe they're not part of the company.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
I remember we had to let go of a few people, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you know, and one thing that you did do, and I said it before, it was you gave opportunity. So you never, there wasn't any ceiling.
Never.
Right?
Yep.
So if you were a go-getter and hungry, you're like, you know what? Here. Take it. You know? And so, but you're responsible for it.
You got to be responsible for it, right? I mean, that was it. There's an opportunity, take it and run with it. You know, you are the master of your own destiny, right?
Yeah.
So, and you did well. I mean, you were a hustler.
Yeah.
By nature.
By nature.
You know? And some people aren't, and that's okay. Everybody's got their role.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. So what did you see it be, Rob?
What did I see? I saw the kid going down the hall clapping his hands loud, you know, very happy, positive kid, and you know, it was a refreshing thing for me because in the banking world you don't get much of that. You know, you don't see people, you know, laughing, clapping hands. So I said, you know, this kid he's got a good heart. He's a hustler. Yeah. You know, he's high energy. Just somebody you want to be around. Yeah. You know, so
that's why you said, you know what, I'm a mentor this kid.
It's exactly right, and you were willing to.
Yeah, that's true.
Being willing is a big part of it. Man. People sometimes aren't willing to learn.
That's true.
They don't want to learn. They're comfortable where they are.
That's true.
You know, you have to be open. You have to be open to criticism. You have to be open to learning and sharing. Some people aren't.
No, you're right. You always had your door open. You always. Know, and I realized that about when. And that point that you just said, you have to be willing, because sometimes you do want to mentor people, but they're not willing to listen, you know. That's right. And one thing I learned when I first walked into your office, I asked you how old you were, and you were like, I'm 27 or 26, and I said, really? And I was like, what? And this is yours? And I said to you, my office, this is gonna be my office one day. First day I met you, that first interview. And you were like, all right, if you say so.
Boom, goal.
And that was my goal. And then you were like, all right. And guess what happened? That was my office. Yeah. But it grew, you know, vice president of sales. Like, the whole thing was just beautiful, you know?
Absolutely.
And so I think with mentorship, the person has to be willing, but the other person has to be open too.
Absolutely.
You know? So you were super busy. You like, you know what? Instead of just saying, Gene, I'm busy, you would say, you know what? Just sit here and listen. And I'll just sit there, listen, take notes. You like, go call this person, call that person, right? The other thing about you is that's really cool. That always fascinated me was you had so much discipline, man. Like, where the hell did you get this from, man? Like, you used to run. You know, you still run in the morning?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow, man. Yeah. How many miles now?
Depends, man.
Because you ran marathons.
Yeah, marathons. You know, Ironman triathlons, 140 miles.
That's crazy.
Miles. Yeah. So it's just, you know, it goes along with what we said. It's a goal. It's a desire. It's a desire to you know, push it to see how far you can go in business, in life, and in athletics. It just
Were you always like
burn.
this?
Always.
As a kid?
Probably too much so as a kid. A lot of energy, you know. I'm sure
you're
my
the only
mother
boy.
wanted to, you know, throw me in the corner for a little bit. But you know, you just always doing something.
Yeah, always doing something. Yeah. So, how did you get into track and running and boxing?
Boxing. That's it.
Yeah.
You went to a few of those.
I went to a few of your fights.
To the Golden Gloves.
The Golden Gloves.
Yeah.
You know?
That was always something I just wanted to do. You know, wanted to be involved in, and started training. And like you, I walked into the gym, and the guy was, you know, looked at me and thought, you know, okay, yeah, put some gloves on him, let it hit the bag. I said, I want to win the gloves. And he just looked at me, he was like, oh, all right. And then, you know, 2-3 years later, I was fighting in the gloves. I broke my hand in the quarterfinal.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember. You were pissed off, man.
I was pissed off. Finished the fight, but after that, it was, you know, I was getting a little bit older, and it started to hurt a little bit. So I said, back to focusing on, and I started running and doing triathlons and all that stuff. But it was always just the idea of pushing yourself. I'm sure, like you do every day, like most people do every day. You gotta push.
You gotta push. You can't settle. Yeah, you never settled. I remember I was 20 years old. I ran 5 miles today, and I was like, I barely got out of bed. You know.
Trust me, there's mornings I feel that way, especially this morning. But yeah.
Oh yeah. We're gonna get to this.
We're gonna get to that. All right.
So now, you know, for years, right? You know, when I started with Dynamic, right? Well, I guess halfway, I met my wife, right? So I remember coming in and, you know, managing business, because you had a lot. You were busy, man. Like, you didn't go home. Like, you didn't have time for a girl.
Nope.
you
don't like that.
No. And so, and And I was like, I had to make a choice. I was like, there has to be a way to balance business, making money, building this empire, and having a wife, right? Or a girlfriend, you know? And so I was like, but Rob don't have one. So I was like, oh well.
Good thing,
so I was like, I know. So I was like, I'm gonna try it. And I don't know if you remember this deal, but there was a guy it was a big commercial deal.
Okay.
And I went to the meeting, a Chic. It was in Queens. And I went to the meeting with the guy who had the buyers. No, yeah, the buyers.
We went to lunch with him.
Yes.
In the restaurant behind the mall.
Yes. And then the guy tells the other guy, he says, I can't do business with you because you're not married. And I was like...
To me?
No, not to you.
Oh.
To the other guy.
Oh, wow, okay.
He told the other guy that. Because the guy was like, oh, you can call me anytime. I'm always available. He said, how old are you? He said, I'm 47. He said, you're 47, you've never been married, you don't have any kids? And I was like 20, so I was like, so what?
So
you know?
what? Right.
This guy was like, yo, I can't trust you.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what? So at that point, I was like, all right. It wasn't like I was searching for my wife, so I let God do it. You know,
were open.
I was open.
You were open.
God gained it to me, and then you told me, I remember you were like, she's a good girl. Just fall back, you know, like it might hurt your business a little, but focus on her. And I was like, what are you telling me? You know? So but I did. Now we're married 10 years.
10 years.
You know, we have a baby. And so when I saw it, yeah, time flies. So you met I remember when you met the special one, right? I said the same thing to you. I said, yo, Rob, this is it. I was like, she's the one.
There you go.
And you end up getting married in beautiful Italy. Yeah. And now you have a baby.
Now I have a baby. Yes.
Now you have a baby boy.
I have a 3 a.m. alarm clock. That's right. Yes.
What time did you wake up before?
Well, it depends. If I was training for something, 4:30, 5 o'clock. Don't get me wrong. There were days I didn't want to get up at all. But yes. But yeah, with this guy, he kind of put my world in disarray. You know. Makes you have to learn how to be more versatile, you know, and not be on that schedule that I like to have. You know, changes things.
You have no choice. Bro.
I have no choice.
You have no choice.
But I love it.
But you love it.
But
yeah.
Love it.
No, you do love it. But it's a huge adjustment, especially because like you're used to 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, waking up, getting on this work, running,
Your own
and
schedule.
then now all of a sudden you can't.
Too tired. You got other things come up. It's hard, man. It's not something anyone can prepare you for. You know.
Yeah. So no, they can't. You can't prepare.
No.
As many warnings as that people gave me, I wasn't ready.
You know, if people say you don't sleep. You know, I don't sleep anyway. My mind's always working. What they don't tell you is you never get to fall asleep again. You know. I can live with 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep, but not falling into a deep sleep is a killer. That's the hardest part for me.
Yeah, no, yeah. And the other thing too for me was the fact that my wife didn't let me sleep either. You know, like she was just like, if I have to be up, if the baby wakes up every hour, I was like, you have to wake up every hour with me. And I was like, what? And then you have to put the baby back to sleep.
Yeah, misery likes company, you know? That's it. Everybody's got to, work together, and it's tough. It's not easy.
It was something else.
Not easy, man.
Yeah, so, oh man, it was that first, but you know what? Once they turn 2 and a half, when they start talking, the babies, something else.
Yeah, I'm looking more for when they start sleeping.
Oh no, that's coming.
That's coming.
That's
all
coming.
Right,
you have about 7 more months.
That's good. That's coming, man.
It's coming.
I was waiting for you got another month or 2. 7 more months. Okay.
Seven more months.
I can dig it. I can live with that. Yeah.
But then my son sleeps in the bed with us.
That's what I've heard. That's coming too.
That's
right?
coming too. Because once because now what happened was I was like, oh, they're not sleep. He's not gonna sleep in the bed with me. He's gonna sleep in his. I built this crib for him.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right.
Nice, comfortable little crib. Why not?
Now this is how you get tricked. So in the beginning, he was sleeping in the bassinet and whatever. But then, you know, waking up every hour. All right, I'm like, okay, you know what? Put him in the bed.
Of course.
So it's
we can all
easier
get
for
some
you.
peace. That's right. Right.
So you could just roll over and you know, feed him.
Exactly.
So, what ended up happening is the kid grows up, he stops, you know, feeding on her, breastfeeding, and then all of a sudden now, he's like, "This is my bed."
Yeah, absolutely. I can see it.
Yesterday, matter of fact, it was funny because I told Anu, I said, "Where's your bedroom?" He points at it. He said, "That's my room." And I said, "Where's your bed?" He said, "Mommy and Daddy's room."
There you go.
I said that doesn't make sense.
Oh, it does.
But he does.
It does make
and he
sense
knows
to him.
It makes sense to him. He's like, "That's not my bed." He throws all his toys in the bed, so he knows that I don't sleep here. This is where my toys, my Mickey Mouse, and everything else sleeps. But anyway, so we start talking about dad talk. We'll need another podcast for that.
That's exactly.
But so we talked about discipline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how, like what else? What else do you think? What elements? What's the word I'm looking for? Like, what traits do you think what takes to make a successful entrepreneur?
I mean, I think it honestly.
You think you can learn it?
Again, yes. I think that realistically, like I said earlier, it comes down to you can do anything you want in life. That's, like I said, that's so cliche, but if you have a drive or a desire and you don't let fear hold you back, I think anybody can do it. I think everybody can do it. Mm-hmm. But you have to have that willingness and that openness to fail, to succeed. Some people are just as afraid of success as they are of failure.
It's true.
It is true.
It's true. I remember you told me that.
Yeah, you just got to be willing. You have to be willing, man. And if you're willing, and you want that, I think anybody can learn it and do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what you just remind me of a conversation we had also. We used to have these. I remember I told you, Taylor, at the office. So we used to have these meetings, the sales meetings, and you used to go around like, so how many people did you meet? Blah, 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 the week before. So I used to, if I can say this now, but when I first started, this is when I first started, not like when I started moving up, right? But when I first started, I was afraid. I was afraid to speak to people, and this Gene was not Gene, right? And I used to go to Pathmark and the supermarkets and the car washes, take real estate cards, and come to the office. I can tell you this now. That's what I said. Statute of limitations over. So, but I used to come in and I used to be like, "Yeah, I met 15 people." You're like, "All right, cool. Where's the deals?" I was like, "They said they don't have any," and so but I never beat nobody. And then you came to me and you said, "Look, Gene, you must have pulled my bluff, called the bluff. Like, you're like, how is it that you meeting more people than everybody else, but you never have any loans, right?" So you said the only person if you're lying, I'm not saying you're lying, but the only person if you are lying about anything, is the only person you heard is you, right? Yeah. And I said, and then you said, "You know what? Go out with man, what's his name? Ferragamo guy."
Bernard?
No.
Vinny.
Vinny. You like, go out with Vinny. And man, that was the first time. I was like 18, and I was scared shitless, bro. Like,
absolutely,
man. I was like, we went out. He was like, "Don't you do this all the time?" And I was like, yeah.
Let's go to the car wash.
And he took me to a real estate office, man. I like threw up. Cause I had this fear, but I had to. But then you were like, you have to get over it.
Everybody's got the fear, man.
Yeah, now I don't. But back then, it was like, so I had to get coaching and like focus on FHA loans only. And so from there, it opened my eyes to a whole nother world. But it was interesting because you knew, but you didn't say anything, But it was cool because like you said in the beginning, you have to let the person like do it themselves, trial and error, and then they have to be willing, But once I was like, enough is enough. Like, I can't afford to keep doing this. Like, me taking a business card from a car wash isn't paying bills. So,
and that's when it all changed for you, because you decided, you realized it, you figured it out. Nothing I said was going to make a difference.
That's true.
It may have sat in your head, you may have thought about it, but until you made that decision,
yeah,
nothing was going to happen.
yeah.
So me getting upset about it, me as a manager saying you have to do X, Y, and Z, if somebody's not made that decision yet, and everybody in their life has to make that decision, it'll come a time, no matter what it is, you don't make that decision, it's not going to happen.
No.
You got to make it, and when you do, good things will happen.
It's true.
Maybe not right away, but it will happen.
No, it's definitely true.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely
a fact.
true. Because, yeah, because once I made that decision, that conscious decision of this has to change, you know? Because as a self-employed person, you don't have to be tied down to the office.
No, and you're responsible to who? You're responsible to yourself.
To yourself.
You know if you're lying. You know if you put in the hardest day that you could. You know if you didn't. You know.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, and now we're beholden to our families. You know, we owe it to them to work, to hustle.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not easy. Hustling's not easy.
No.
It's tiring.
Yeah, it is. So now, how do you balance that? Because the Rob I know, I'm like, how does he still make the moves? Like, did your business sacrifice a little?
You know, it did. It has. It's an adjustment period for me. You're right. I mean, my 20s and most of my 30s was work. It was a hustle. That's
19 years, man, or 20 years of just
hustling,
grinding,
moving,
every
every day, and you know, weekends. There were years where weekends I worked straight through.
Yeah.
You know, and it was tiring. I found my wife. We found each other, and she understood. You know, and
that's
really
important
accepted
too.
it. That's huge. That's huge. That's
huge.
a big part of it. Because before it was, people didn't want to deal with that. So there was no option. I wasn't going to give up my focus, my goal for
love.
Not even love, maybe for love, you know, but I wasn't going to just give it up. It would, I mean, it had to be, there had to be a balance. And like everything, there needs to be balance. So I'm trying. I'm focusing, especially now with my son, trying to spend more time, trying to be, you know, it's work smarter.
Yeah.
You know, not harder.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to.
You know what? I was smiling ear to ear, man, when we were FaceTiming each other the other day. And I saw you were chilling on the couch with your son. And it was just like amazing to me because, like, I don't think of you like that, you know? I mean, now I do, but, you know, running, it was always running. Rob was always moving, man, you know? And so for me to see him, like, on a couch, chilling with a baby, I was like, what?
It's an adjustment, you know?
I was like, this is cool.
It is, and it is cool. You know, I think it was last Saturday, I was with my wife and baby, and she ran out, and I had the baby, and I couldn't believe I had so much time. I spent the whole day with him. And, you know, you pick up the phone, you have work calls, but
you find a way.
It was nice. I just couldn't believe how much time I had in the day. It was nice to take a little bit step back. You know?
Yeah.
But you can't lose that hustle either, that grind. You know, or it's always in you.
Yeah, exactly. I told my wife, I said, you met me as a grinder, as a person who's running, so you can't fault me for not stopping.
That's right.
So you found me running, you know? So, but what I realized, and I could share this with the listeners too, is what you have to do, balance for everybody is not this equal thing. You know, it's not like a balance where it's like everything's 50-50. No.
That's right.
A balance, it might be what all my wife wanted was dinner at 7. That was it. She was like, let's have dinner. I want to sit down, eat a dinner with my husband, no phone, no technology, me and you. And then, once we finish, you could go back to work.
Yep.
And I was like, that's it all? She was like, yeah. And then, one movie night, Wednesday. So Wednesday, movie night. Now, we don't have to go out to the movies. I've actually built a theater in the house.
It.
Yeah, man.
You're
so
awesome.
So I did that because I was like, I don't want to leave. So it's easy for me to, you know, work, do the movie night, and go back to the office. Like, so she doesn't have to leave. It's comfortable. You know, so but that's what I realized about balance. So the ideal, because we don't have 9 to 5s, Rob. You know what I'm saying? So our lives are, as an entrepreneur, opportunity. Somebody might call today, right, like 20 minutes from now.
Yep.
And so we have to understand. Okay, we have to move. So we can't just, okay, we're going on a 3-week vacation and, well, oh no, like there's no time off.
No.
You know, so you have to create, you know, like you have to just create what balance works for you. So what works for Rob is not going to work for the next person.
That's right.
What works for Taylor might not work for Gene.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
like Taylor goes on vacation all the time.
Nice, Taylor.
Yeah. She spent 3 weeks in California.
Ah.
Then she spent another week in California for
a few days for
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Exaggerating.
So she's living the best life. You know?
Very nice.
So yeah, right. But like Brianna's a grinder. You know, so Brianna, no time off for Brianna.
I take naps.
She take
Well,
naps.
I
Naps
try.
are nice. Naps are nice.
So Rob, man. So what do you find is a challenge for you?
What's a challenge for me?
Yeah, like besides the balance and that, like as far as work, you know, like networking, like what did you, even though you didn't have to, you were building the bank, but you didn't have to start the bank, right? So like not the banking side, but as far as the business side, as far as the entrepreneur, what was like the biggest challenge for you, and how did you overcome it?
I mean, I think the biggest challenge nowadays is being out there on social media and doing this, and you're so focused, or I'm so focused on you know, the service aspect of things and making sure things are moving smooth and people are happy and things are good, that there's just not enough time to deal with every aspect of business. There just isn't. So you need to, I think working smart is a challenge. Finding ways to work smarter, so you're not working harder, to find that balance so you can do movie night, so you can spend time with your kid. You know, that to me is the hardest aspect of it.
Yeah.
I know, you know, getting out there and I used to just, you know, go at it and not work smart. So adjusting and becoming a little smarter on the work side is hard. It's hard. You know, everything's evolving. So the social media aspect of things, we've talked about.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
You know, it's not my strong point.
Yeah, no. I remember branding too. You had this Dynamic had a white business card with like it was like a burgundy little house with a little smoke and the chimney.
Yeah.
It said Dynamic Mortgage. I said, yo guys, we gotta change this. And we designed it. You know, you're like, fine, Gene, fine. And then I started putting the pictures of the agents on the business card. You let me rebrand it. It was really cool.
Absolutely.
And it worked, you know. And then and so social media is like this next thing, because you barely were on email, man.
You know, that definitely is a challenge for me. I'm electronically challenged, I gotta say.
We had Blackberries back then.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. What was that other one?
The Time Force. The
it had the stylist.
Yeah,
That was my favorite one. What the hell was that? That was the Trio.
The Trio. Yes, the Trio.
The Trio.
Oh, I love the Trio.
The Trio
man.
was the best.
The Trio was
Bring
the
it
best.
Back. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. If the Trio was in color and touchscreen with your finger,
it didn't freeze as much.
It didn't freeze. I think the Trio is now the iPhone.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
how crazy is that? You
yeah.
touch a phone and people take advantage. You know, you don't think about it, but you can touch a phone. You can do whatever you want on those things. You know, flip tops before. Now you can. Yeah, it's just crazy.
No, technology really helped. So I think one thing too is delegation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think working smart, delegation, and being willing to let go, right? And you were swamped, but you had to trust. So, but I knew that you needed help because you had like your desk used to be full of files, and I used to like, Rob, let me handle this. You know, so you like, can you handle it? And I used to like be in your office like, yo, let me handle it. You gave me that one. The first dude, the first client was oh man, he was in the not the attorney. That was the second loan I did for you. But the first one, he owned the bank. I mean, he owned the church.
Yeah,
church
Justin.
Gym. Justin. Yeah, that was my first loan I handled for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were friends. You know, now we're friends. You know, but And that's the cool thing about working with you too. It was like the loan officers and the clients, we all became friends and family. Like, we still talk to this day.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, you don't hear about that.
No.
You know, because it wasn't about numbers for you. It wasn't about just, like, most of the clients, some of the clients came to my wedding. You know, like, some of the clients.
And I still talk to them.
And I still talk to them.
talk to them.
Yeah, because, you know, it wasn't, they forgot that we were, like, friends first, then, oh, yeah, by the way, you did my mortgage. You know?
took care of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
One client called me the mortgage doctor.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember. You went with that for a little bit.
I did. I put it on my business card.
That's right.
I put it on all my branding materials, all my marketing materials. It said mortgage doctor.
Yeah.
You know.
You
And
don't want to give him a hard time. Just call him the mortgage doctor.
yeah, it was great. It was great.
He loves it. Doesn't
I
he?
loved it, and you know, because I didn't tell her to say it. It was. I went to the lady's house. She kept getting denied from all these different banks and lenders, right? And when I went there, I said, all you really have to do is take your husband off the loan. You make enough. The only reason it's not working is because your husband has all this debt, you know? And so she was like, really? I could do that? And I was like, yeah. And put him on the home, the deed,
Yep.
but take him off the loan.
Bingo.
Bingo. Approved.
There you go.
She was like, oh my God, you're like the mortgage doctor. I was like, what?
That's all you had to hear. Boom. You know, comes in with a stethoscope, you know, whatever. Wore that white thing and the next day. That's all I had to hear.
That's all I had to hear,
That's
right?
it. That's
you know,
it.
and so I was big on leverage, you know? I was big on leverage, you know, like when someone came in, like I remember my first big account was Charles Rottenberg.
Yep.
You know, shout out to them.
Yep.
You know, you still work with them?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I remember bringing in that one account, and I remember the conversation where they had 2 agents. And I was like, Rob, there's this guy, Joe Moshe. He's like, he's going to get 1,000 agents. You're like, let's go see what this is.
Well, first I said, you go talk to
Yeah, you go talk. Yeah.
You go talk to him.
You go talk to him. And so I was like, all right. So I went.
And you came back, you're like, I think you need to meet with this guy.
Yeah, this guy's serious. This guy's serious. His formula is no joke. And still kicking, man. I love it, you know. And I have to go check them. I want to do some branding for them. Joe, listen to me. I need to do some branding for you, man. But, so, you know, I used marketing and branding. I didn't even know you could make money off of this, right? Because I was just doing a dynamic for years, and people started coming to me and, hey, you need to do this for me, and you need to do this, right? And this is something else. I used to work on Saturdays because I didn't have an office. So I used to work on Saturdays with the team at the office.
There you go.
So
Statutes up on that one?
Yeah, it's over now.
Right.
So I used to come in on Saturdays, Sundays, late nights, like come in and like, what do we gotta do? We used to plan the launch party. We were meeting people. You came to the launch party. Jay-Z was there. It was fun. Like Jay-Z, Chrisette Michelle, all these football players, everybody was there. Like we had like Maybachs outside. Remember when we launched ACA?
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it was crazy. We had like 500-600 people there, man. You know, invite only.
Invite only.
And matter of fact, that guy Craig Davis that you just saw today, he was there. Yeah, that's how I met him. He was. You know who he is? He was in charge of urban music for EMI for Capitol.
Okay.
Big dog.
Big wig.
Yeah. So that's
nice. Seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, very nice guy, man.
So
and we're both Scorpios. And this is how I said to him. I said, "When's your birthday?" He was like, "November something." And I said, "You know what? I'm gonna throw you a birthday party." And he was like, "What? Really?" I said, "Yeah." And I did. Threw him a big birthday party, 40/40 Club, and because 40/40 was a client of ours.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
So they became a client of ours because I kept bringing them business. Because I learned that in mortgages. I learned that with you. It was just like, you always have to add more. If you want something, just keep giving people stuff.
Absolutely.
You know? Just keep helping them. You know? And eventually, even if it doesn't come from them, it'll come back. You know?
I believe it.
So Rob, man, like anything you want? Oh, matter of fact, so any new business ventures that you're in, part of?
Oh, We've got some stuff in the pipe.
Okay.
We've got some stuff in the pipe. Nothing ready to announce yet.
Okay.
But trying to get some development deals going.
Cool. In New York or out of state?
New York.
Okay.
New York. Moving up a little upstate a little bit as well.
Okay.
You know, but New York is the place to be. There's opportunities all over. So, just trying to get some additional sources of income coming in, additional streams.
Yeah.
Tap into relationships and get things working. So I got some things in the pipe.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
We're working on them.
Yeah.
How about you?
Man, same here. I love this podcast because you know I love to talk.
Yeah?
So,
no. No. I don't believe it.
So, you know I love to talk. So,
yeah.
When they gave me, I'm celebrating a year. You know, this
Congrats.
is my 30th episode.
Congrats.
So, and I wanted 30 for me has always been a big number for me. So I wrote my first book at 30. So my 30th episode, I was like, that's why I'm super excited. This don't even sound like my typical show, right? But this is how
great.
I wanted my show, my 30th, because this is important to me. You gave me my start, you know?
Absolutely.
And Jamie gave me my start with the podcast.
There you go.
You know? But it's all about networking, building, and growing. And so I hope I make you proud. You know?
Make me very proud. you make me very proud. You're a hard worker. You're good guy. It's I'm sure it's a pleasure to work for him, right? Work with him, work for him.
What?
Nothing.
You laughed?
I'm just
She
laughing.
was overjoyed.
Yes.
She was overjoyed. That's
I'm
what
just
it was.
laughing to myself.
Yo, I treat them good.
Breeze.
Yo, Bree's the worst.
No,
All right.
she got your back. Look,
Yeah. Nah, you got my back.
She does.
Yeah.
But absolutely, man. You took the ball and you ran with it. That's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
There's no ceiling.
No.
No ceiling for
There's no
anyone.
ceiling. For anybody.
anyone in
I
life.
don't think there's ceilings for anybody.
There's just excuses.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You give up the excuses, go right through the ceiling. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You had that. You knew it from day one. And that's what it's about.
Yeah. No, and you know what? And if someone came to your office with excuse, like, you just roll it off. It was so funny to watch.
Yeah. Hey, it's they're only doing it to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
know,
You used to definitely roll it off. Like, and I was like, damn, nothing's working with this dude. Like, you know?
Yeah.
And so you just had no choice but to work hard, you know? And I was like, I couldn't let you down. I didn't want to let Joanne down. I didn't want to let nobody, my team down.
That's
like,
right.
so it was just like, and how can we, and it was interesting because I was figuring out different ways, always figuring out different ways. You said something, and I still use it. It was, you know what we do. Now you just have to tell the world, figure out a way to tell the world what we do, so that you could build your business, right?
That's right.
So I was like, okay, you could do that in mortgages, but you could still do it in branding. You can still do it in any other business, anything. And so I use that same formula. It's like, okay, we have a podcast. You know what we do here. So now, how do you get the listeners to listen? How do you get them to subscribe? How do you get people to tune in? And how do you get guests? How do you get this? You know, so, and if, you know, I have the frozen yogurt shop where they just approved the drawings for
the sign,
the storefront. So
Right,
we had to do the whole facade of the storefront again, landmarks, man.
Yeah.
But that's done. So now we just waiting for final paperwork and permits. So I'm praying that we'll be, God willing, open back up April 2019.
Perfect timing, right?
Yeah, perfect timing, man. So
Gotta have a big party.
big party, huge. The community's been dying for it, man. Everybody's like, "Where's Brooklyn Swirl? Where's Brooklyn Swirl?" And I'm like, "It's coming, I promise."
It's coming.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, and people always ask me, man, like, why you always wear a suit? I was like, I learned wearing suits, you know, from banking. You know, I was a banker. So, you know, how you go from banking to frozen yogurt to writing books, teaching kids, like, how do you go through, you know? And I said, look, there's no limits. I saw that with you, man, like running marathons. You did that, what's it called, Ironman?
Yeah.
You did Ironman. You travel the world. You made money. Like, you build businesses. You did this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you went to the Hamptons. You hang out in the Hamptons. It was cool. Like, we spent some time out there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, but you always had fun. You always smiled. You always treated people good. You know? And, you know, people don't really, when you work, right? And this is why this show is like, I'm supposed to be talking to you, but it's like I'm praising you because, and the reason why is because when I'm so appreciative and so grateful that I met you, because my life could have turned a different way, and not bad way.
No.
I would have always been good, but it would have been different. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
And
yes.
as many times as I made excuses like, this shit is hard, I'm going to give up. You never really let me give up.
No.
And then, so when people aren't here, that's when they want to tell them, yeah, Rob was a great man. He did this.
Right.
No one gives you your flowers when you can smell them.
Right.
You know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
They eulogize you when you're gone.
when you're gone.
That's true.
And I'm like, nah, man, tell the dude what it is, you know?
100%.
Yeah, man. So that's why I was like, oh, you coming on my show? I was like, perfect.
Well, I appreciate
So
it.
perfect because it's real. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you showed me real estate. You showed me how to balance. You showed me how to the people. You warned me about people.
Yeah.
You were like, look, that guy, watch out for him. And then you were right. You know, so this guy, good guy. You know, and I'm like, okay. So now I started doing the smell test like you used to do. And I used to be like, oh, I get it. So now as soon as I see someone that reminds me of that, stay away. And then it's like, you're right. But that comes with mentorship.
It does, and you got to give yourself a lot of credit too. I know you do.
I
Right?
do.
You do.
I definitely do.
But you were willing to learn, man. You were willing to take the ball and run with it, so to speak. You had the initiative, and yeah, everybody gets. I get that way. Everybody gets that way. It's hard. You want to give up sometimes, but the fact of the matter is, you didn't. Doesn't matter how many times you think it. It's whether or not you do it.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
No.
You didn't give up. So give yourself a lot of credit for that too, because it's tough out there.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing,
No, it's true.
it's tough out there. But you keep working hard. I believe you're a good person. You treat people well. You love your family. You enjoy your life, and good things will happen. You make it.
Yeah.
Don't wait for it. Make it happen.
You make
know?
it happen.
You make it happen, man. That's what it's about.
What's the best part of like your day? Like as far as the deal goes. You know, like is it like which part of the process, you know, is it the getting the client, speaking to the client, like as far as like, you know, actually sitting down with them, you know, like what part of the process, the stage, you know, because there's like
Yeah.
a couple parts.
Yeah, I like meeting the client.
Meeting the client.
You know, it's always a good opportunity to meet new people and see who they are. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
It's like a snowflake, right?
Yeah.
And some people will open up and you can, you know, really find out what type of a person they are and meet new people, and it's cool, but sometimes it's the worst part of it too, depending on the person.
Depending on the person.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, but I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy talking to people.
Yeah.
I enjoy listening.
Listening to them.
That's why we work.
Yeah.
You like to talk, I
Yeah.
like to listen.
That's true. That's true.
That's it, you know?
You used to just smile and listen to me. I'm like, yo, this dude, is this dude really into what I'm saying
What's
right
wrong
now?
with this guy? What's with that grin on his face, you know?
Always. You know? And okay, so that part, the meeting new people, right?
Absolutely.
The process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. For me, it's the same thing. You know, I think a lot of times, I think bad salespeople, always their favorite part is the closing, right? Or whatever closing that means for them. You know what I'm saying? So if it's the end, then you lose the main component, which is the people part. So if you can't build rapport, if you can't build rapport with someone, if you don't know, if you can't connect with the person, you don't, maybe the deal won't go through. And if there's a hiccup, guess what happens? That person's gonna make your life hard. So then they're not, you know, there's gonna be friction, and then there's no referrals, and then guess what? And if you do close that deal, no referrals, and that means your business is short. So that means you're short-term thinking. You know, so I have clients since I started ACA 12 years ago, man.
Yep.
12 years.
And that says something about you as well.
12 years.
Yep.
You know, so my clients don't leave, you know, because I'm not Vistaprint, you know, but and I'm not, you know, but I beat people on quality. I beat people on style, because you know my thing is always about sexiness. So everything I do has to be sexy. Like, you know, it's not just giving out a business card. It's making sure the business card is really like wow. You know, it's not, you know, like even the backdrop, this podcast, like, you know, I want to make sure that the podcast has nice visuals and it's not just we're recording out of a phone. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure that everything is to the highest quality because that's the customer service that I want. It's a reflection.
It's a reflection, absolutely, and you have always been like that.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. You know, it's pride.
Yeah, it's pride. I take pride. Yes, I take pride. And even with the loans, I used to take pride in this. I used to take pride in the loan and study it and understand like what it is. And I didn't need you to babysit me. You didn't, but
No.
you didn't. You were like, so tell me. And oh, this is something else you used to do too, which was cool. You used to be like, so tell me about the deal. And I used to be like, and I used to just at first it was just give you a little the summary, and you used to be like, no, but tell me about the deal. Like, what's this? What's this? What's this? You were teaching me to study the whole thing because you never know who's going to ask you a question.
Study the person.
Study the situation. You ask me, oh, so how long did they work at the job? Do they like the job? Do you think they're going to stay at the job? You know, so all those things those are the questions that most loan officers didn't ask. Do you like your job? Do you think you're staying here for 20 years? Like, because you're doing a fixed mortgage for 30 years, you better like your job. So if the person's like, man, as soon as I get this loan, I'm quitting. As soon as I get this loan, I'm quitting my job.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a problem for them.
Yeah, it's a problem for
everybody.
It's a problem
you know?
for everybody.
And you don't want that. I mean, I say it now to everybody. You know, it's most of when I'm speaking to somebody, you know, people just write in the blanks, they fill in the application, but you learn more about somebody in 20 minutes of just talking to them than you do from filling in a few boxes.
It's
you
so
know?
true.
And that's in life, that's in business, that's in everything. And no matter what you're selling, you got to know your product. You got to know your people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, it's going to make life a lot harder for you.
Yeah. Now, I have an interesting question, right? Like, most people have a why, right? And but you know, in the beginning, you didn't have a family, you didn't have kids, you didn't have a wife. Like, what was your why? And has it changed? You know, now that you have a family now, did your why change?
You know, my why has always been I didn't want to let people down. I didn't want to let my family down. I didn't want to let my father, my mother, you know, my sisters. I always wanted to, you know, to work hard because it is reflection. It's pride. You know, I came from an immigrant family. My family came from Italy, and it was always, you know, your work ethic and your word is who you are.
Yeah.
And that's, since I was a child, that's always been, you know, my dad always said, you pay your bills before you eat. And, you know, that's what he did. And my grandfather, you know, till the day he died, worked, you know, at 80 years old, was working construction, working hard.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, so it was just instilled. You know, my why was my family and just my upbringing.
I love it.
Still to this day.
Still to this day, yeah. So I would, well, I don't want to guess and assume, but so out of all the entrepreneurs, like who really inspired you, right?
You know, that's tough. I guess growing up, it was probably my father.
Your father, right?
Because you know, he came from eating candy bars. Literally once or twice a day. That's all he could afford to eat from a basement apartment when his dad died. You know, to where he is today. Yeah. So I always looked at that and respected that. That's my you know, my hero.
I like that.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be interesting. Do you think you ever could work like a 9 to 5?
You know, man, I'd love to say yes. I would love to, but there are times where, you know, I come home and everything is done, and I take a step back. You know, now what? What do I do? What do I do? You know, but now I can focus on my son and you know, my family. So will I work a 9 to 5? No, never. Never.
Yeah.
Never. It's never. It's never going to satisfy me.
Yeah, never, right?
It's that you know it, that hunger, that yeah, I'm always hungry.
Yeah.
You're always hungry. Once it's in you, it doesn't come out. It doesn't come out. So.
Yeah. No, I see that because.
You see yourself doing that?
No. It's interesting because I created this discipline as far because I saw the structure, you know, and this is why I'm telling you, I've been talking about this for a while, but with you, but it's like I noticed that okay, you can work 100 hours for yourself. I'd rather work 100 hours for myself than work 40 hours for someone else, right? And
especially someone who's unappreciative.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody who's unappreciative too, you know. And it just seemed like, and it never made sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like never. I've always loved the commission mindset. You know, I've always loved because I'm like, so you telling me that I can literally make all this money, but all I have to do is do this? Is work? So it's either you work 40 hours, because if I work 40 hours, literally work 40 hours, I'm making a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you don't really work 40 hours. But if you worked 40 hours for yourself, like really worked, you won't need to go get a job. But most entrepreneurs, most independent contractors, they have that 40 hours, but they're texting, they're on social media. Before they used to be on like the computer, you know, looking up magazines, but now it's different, you know. But I remember I used to see you and I used to be like, yo, yeah, okay, if I want to make 6 figures like this guy, I was like, yo, he's never on personal calls. He's never, I don't see him ever having friends over. Like, he's always business, yo. This guy's a robot. And I was like, and I was trying my hardest. I used to read books. I was trying to study you. I used to, because, you know, I was a very observant person.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm telling you guys this because I hope that, you know, you're fortunate to meet a guy like Rob for yourselves, but you know, the young people, even older, like meet someone that that's successful, that you could shadow, and that, you know, that'll let you shadow them. But you have to be open to listening to them, and also you have to be open to change. You have to make that decision to change for yourself too. But for me, it was just like I saw the struggle that my father went through and my mom. And I just, we actually did the mortgage, remember? They still have that loan.
Good for them.
Still. Never refinanced it.
Nice.
You know? Because it was a great deal.
Yeah.
So, but I saw the challenges, I saw the struggle, and I said, you know what? I can't disappoint them. Right? So I love your answer about the why, because that was like my why. Because I was 18, 19 years old.
Yep.
And it was the decision like, all right, I could be broke, and I could have no money, and I could stunt for my friends because I wear a suit and none of them wear a suit, so I could just look good, or I could actually start making moves, you know. And so I remember one day, it was Gainer. This is something else you definitely don't know this one, but Gainer does. So, you know, this is after you gave me the team. This is after you made me VP of sales, and I didn't have to come into the office anymore, really, that much. And I met my girl, so I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to fall back a little. So I was at the house, right, at my house, and I was sitting there, and my wife calls me. At the time, she was my girlfriend. She goes, where are you at? And I was like, oh, I'm at home, watching I'm working from home today. I had my robe on, eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and I was watching Sopranos.
Visual, huh?
Yeah, man. So I felt like I was Tony Soprano, bro. Yeah. So I was watching Sopranos on on DVD or whatever it was. I was watching Sopranos. I had my computer. I had my 1003s. It wasn't that I was in my office, but I was just watching TV. I was chilling.
Your focus was elsewhere.
Yeah. And I was like, I did my loans. I was sending emails to Joanne. And then she calls me, and I thought it was a cool thing. And I was like, yeah, you know, it was like a Tuesday. And so she was like, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I'm working from home, watching Sopranos, eating some cereal, you know, just chilling. She's like, don't you have an office? And I was like, yeah. So she was like, how much did you make this month? Last month? And I was like, I made this much. And she was like, don't you think you can make more if you actually go to the office and work
There you go.
versus watching Sopranos?
Yeah.
Yo, from that day on.
Yeah.
So you need someone to help you, like, that's why I love my wife so much, because she never made me complacent.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
if I went to a book, I wrote a book. So if I went to a book signing and I sold 30 books, and I was like, babe, I sold 30 books. She's like, how many people were there? And I was like, there was like 200 people there. So she was like, so how come you didn't sell 200 books? I said, God damn.
Right.
Like,
can I get a little?
Can I get a little bit? Like,
Yeah,
I just told you I sold 30 books. I only brought 30 books with me. I sold out. She was
Your
like,
wife and my dad would get along very well.
oh yeah,
together,
yo,
I'll tell you.
she's no, you know the Gainer.
Yeah,
Like, she's no joke.
absolutely, No.
And she's still the same way. She's like, I did all this construction in my office, and then there was one of the offices, wasn't as spruced up. And she was like, and I was like, yeah, babe, look around. Like, she opened the door. She was like, this office looks like a storage room.
Mm-hmm.
Messed up my head.
Yeah.
Now I had to
Absolutely.
change it around. Now
Yeah.
the office looks beautiful now.
That's right.
So she was like, you can't be comfortable.
She's right.
She can't. And I can't stay at home just chilling.
Nope.
Like, you always have to grind. So when you
Always.
meet someone, you always have to meet someone that's gonna push you. Look at Obama and Michelle. Like Michelle and Barack. Like, Michelle pushed him. You know what I'm saying? Like, Michelle was actually making way more money than him. Barack was, President Obama was actually her intern. You know what I'm saying? But she pushed him. You're going to be senator. You're going to be this. You're going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, and she pushed him. You know what I'm saying? Because,
Absolutely.
so you need that partner.
Absolutely.
Not
Yes.
just a wife, not just a husband. You need a partner that understands your vision, your dreams, and know your full potential and empty you.
That's right. And that's the partnership. It is a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Picks up the pieces and helps where her strength is my weakness.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a true partnership. And that's what we were fortunate enough to find.
Yes.
You know, both of us, which is a great thing.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to our wives.
Shout out to our wives. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you is there anything else that you think attributed to your success, like in like a positive way?
I mean, look.
Besides, like,
it's mindset, it's work ethic. I mean, it's luck. It's everything. I mean, I believe you make your own future, but just meeting the right people, meeting good people, finding the good people in the crowd.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Good people are hard to find.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a lot of different things that came together, for me.
So do you think, like, I mean, looking back now, right? Is there anything that you would do different if you could? Or would you, like, keep it, like, for me, I would keep everything the same. Even though that story I told you about me going to the supermarkets and getting the business card, I would do that again.
Absolutely.
Because now, it's funny because now I have salespeople and I see them sort of doing the same thing. So I'm like, for years, and I'm like, and I would tell that story to show them, like, yo, I was you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you can
Exactly.
fake it,
You can fake
but
it.
at the end of the month, your numbers are going to reflect.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers
People
don't lie.
People do. So you tell me all you want to. We're going to see what's going to happen. That's it.
Yeah, because there's no way that you could go into 50 businesses in 1 week and not one person wants to do something with you.
No.
So that's impossible.
If it does happen, then there's something you need to change about you.
Yeah, yes.
There's something you need to change about your approach, maybe about something. But more than likely, it's the old gene effect.
Yeah, it's the gene effect.
You spend too much time in the car wash.
You
That's
see
right.
that? Now it's called the gene effect.
That's right.
You see this? The
That's
gene
it.
effect.
That's it.
I like it though. I'll take that. The gene effect. I'll take that.
That's
But yeah, Rob. So, any last things you want to share with us?
No, I mean, I appreciate you having me on, man. it's been great watching you grow. And
Thank you.
That's what it's been. It's been growth for you, for me, for everybody. So
Yeah.
I am proud of you. You
Yeah.
did a great job.
Thank you, man. Let me ask you something. What was your, because, you saw me as an 18-year-old kid, and how did you, like, what was your mind when you walked into 4040, you saw Jay-Z, you saw all these celebrities, you saw all these people, like, and I was like, yeah, I'm starting a business. Like, what was going through your mind? Because we have pictures, and, you said congratulations, and this is cool, but, like, I'm just curious, like, what were you thinking? What do you think?
It's weird because I wasn't surprised. It wasn't like, oh my God. It was a natural progression. You always talked about that. You always talked about how you wanted to be successful and do something like this. And so for me, it really wasn't, for I think all of us that know you, it wasn't a oh my God moment. It was, it was.
He's on the path.
It's to be expected. You were going to get there. It just was a question of when.
Got it.
So it wasn't like a, oh my gosh, maybe it should have been, but maybe, the fact of the scale of everything, how big it was, but, everybody kind of knew.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Truth.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was like, yeah, I didn't want to disappoint anybody either, and even with the business, partners change, people I started with are not here. Like, it's okay because I kept going.
Absolutely.
And because I knew it's growth. I knew the vision that I had, and I've never strayed from it. Because I understand, like, what we do can help people.
Absolutely.
And so, but I changed it. Instead of working with athletes, I work with the professional spaces for 10 years. Instead of working with, celebrities, I work with bankers and lawyers and real estate people and developers and help them with their brand, because everybody needs a brand.
Absolutely.
And so
on the next project.
Yes, you're my next project. I can't wait. That one's gonna be fun. But Rob, thank you so much, man.
Of course, man.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Because if it wasn't for the time and effort that you poured into me, like, I wouldn't be able to be here to pour into all these people, because something I don't think I told you, but like I started a scholarship.
Nice.
I sent 37 kids to school.
Really?
And then
Very nice.
Then I created a program where I'm teaching kids entrepreneurship. And I told you that part.
Yeah.
And so it's Faith Grind Inspire too. It's called Faith
Nice.
Grind Inspire. And now I'm in 6 schools throughout New York City, and I'm going in teaching entrepreneurship to them. Yeah.
I can't tell you how important that is, because in our society, that's the biggest thing that's lacking. Teachers are great. I have a lot of respect. We just need to fill in a gap that they can't do, which is the mentorship side of business, and they have their focus, and it's a lack, I think, a lack of mentors and a lack of direction that is the reason why more people can't be successful. So what you're doing is exactly what needs to be done on a grand scale.
Yeah.
Because people need it.
Wow.
People need to know that they have what it takes to do anything they want in life. I mean, you hear it everywhere. Like I said in the very beginning, you can do anything you put your mind to, but people don't really grasp that until they start to do it. And that at a young age, I think is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you.
And the other thing too is, do you think that, especially nowadays, like when I was growing up, there was no social media, there was no real phones really. There was like MySpace, but there was Facebook started when I was like 23, I think. But do you think nowadays, like working with a team now, you think it's harder for the salespeople because they see so much people quote unquote winning on social media and in like a space that they're in? Because I see a lot of mortgage bankers on social media, and I'm like, bro, and so even real estate people, and I'm like, stop,
Yes.
And so I think it's harder because I used to just compare myself to the guys at the office. Now these guys are comparing themselves to all these other loan officers across the country. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now it's harder because some people are lying on social media about their success. So like, do you think I think it's a little.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I think it's harder.
I don't even. I can't say. You know what, man? I can't say it's ever bothered me. Who's the only person that you should be worried about and beholden to?
It's yourself, right?
It's yourself.
Yeah,
Who cares what this guy's doing? If he's successful, good for him. Hopefully he'll be more successful. But if you know you can work harder and smarter than you, do it, man.
Yeah.
I don't know that because I don't really.
You stay off of it.
But I'm on it, and I see that stuff sometimes. It doesn't bother me. I mean, it just doesn't faze me. I don't think about it.
Yeah, you don't think about it.
I know what I have to do every
Yeah.
day. Every month I look at what I have to do, and I try and make it better than the month before.
Yes.
And that kills me sometimes because it's hard. And you know, it's not always a positive thing for me because you beat yourself up if you don't get there. But every month I try and be positive. I try and have some progression, whether it's income or it's you know, something positive happening. I try and better every month, and it's the truth. And it doesn't always happen. And I don't have time to look at other people. I really don't.
I like
mean,
that. But you
just
know
don't
what?
have
That's
time.
why. Because you created this discipline to always beat yourself. Like, you know, you always trying to aim high.
Absolutely. You know, the guy next to you or the girl next to you, it doesn't matter. You know, you don't know their situation.
Yeah.
Man. It's focus on yours. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, what does it matter?
It's
what
true.
they're doing, what they have.
It's true.
It doesn't affect you.
It doesn't affect you at
Who
all.
cares?
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
you.
You're right.
You know?
You're right.
That's what matters.
You're right. Man. All right, cool. So, any last tips, any advice you want to give anybody? You dropped a lot of jewels today. And
All right. No. No, just, you know, it's important, you know, that people are, as my father would always say, unlocking their own potential, right?
Okay.
Work hard, you know, be honest to yourself, and things will happen. Things will happen for you.
That's cool.
Right?
Yep, that's right.
All right,
So,
man.
well, you're not on social media, so do you have a website for the like? So, you still in mortgages, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So,
Of course.
So shout out the mortgage company.
Right.
If you're looking for a mortgage, man, you want to deal with somebody with integrity. You want someone, if you're looking to refinance, purchase a home, and you need a loan. Like, you don't need to shop around. Talk to my man Rob.
Even if you just
You
need
know?
advice.
Or you just need advice, you know. So
we're here.
yeah. So tell them, give them the information. how to-
A&B, my Associated Mortgage Bankers, my... Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I'll just give you my, you know, my personal... My email address is robflower, Flower, 140 @gmail.com.
All right, cool. So Rob, thank you so much for coming by. Thank you guys for tuning in to another great episode of Faith Grind Inspired Podcast. You can catch us every Wednesday. I hope that you guys learned so much about me, about Rob, about, you know, mentorship, being a protege and being a mentor, and being open to listening and being willing to learn from others, and not trying to reinvent the wheel. You know what I'm saying? So success leaves clues. It's your choice to either take it or not. You know? So Faith Grind Inspire. Thank you to OG Podcast Network. Thank you for Tim, Jamie, my producers Brianna and Taylor. Shout out to Elijah helping out today. And yeah, faithgrindinspire.com. Catch us every Wednesday. God bless. Peace. Cool. Yeah.
Gene made this one super long.
It wasn't long. It
It's
wasn't.
usually an hour.
That was an hour. That's why I stopped it.
You sure?
I'm positive.